Alright, it's been a while since I actually posted a video, but I've got a little project here today. I'm actually replacing the struts on my wife's 2011 Chevy Equinox, okay? When you go over a bump, it's kind of like riding on a carnival ride, right? It doesn't stop bouncing. So I'm opting to do the quick strut, which is the full strut assembly, including the spring and the top mount plate. And I'll kind of get into why once we get into the project, alright? Let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so hopefully you saw I have the vehicle up off the ground with a jack and a jack stand, okay? Safety first. I do like to use another jack on this job as well to support the weight of the control arm, but it's not absolutely necessary, okay? Just keep in mind when you remove this strut assembly that this control arm is going to drop, okay? It was 22mm socket on those lug nuts, and we're going to go 13mm on this little bracket here that holds the brake hose and the ABS sensor wire, okay? Now, sort of unfounded territory for me is cordless. Herb told me, shout out to Herb, said I should ditch the air tools and go cordless, and I didn't believe they had enough torque, but they do. So this little Craftsman here has been a pretty good investment for me, and it wasn't that expensive. Alright, next we're going to hit these. I just need to grab a larger socket and a wrench, and I'm going to reposition the camera, okay? Alright, so this is a 21mm, okay, and this would be a 15mm open-ended, because it's not a hex, it's just two flat sides, but if it spins we'll put a wrench on it. I think this might actually put the Craftsman to this test here. Let's see what happens. And it did it. I guess I'm impressed. Thank you, Herb. Alright, there's another one down here. Let me reposition the camera so you can get a shot of it. Alright, we're going to leave those bolts in there for now. We'll hit the top bolts next, alright? Alright, so you can see I sprayed this sway bar link down a little bit with some penetrating fluid. 18mm, okay, and then it's got a 6mm Allen wrench in the middle of the stud, okay, and that's because this is likely to spin. What I'm going to do is hit it with the impact. Maybe we'll get lucky, it'll back off. What I suspect will happen is it'll loosen up and this will spin. We'll have to wind the rest of the way out with a wrench, okay? This is where a ratcheting box end wrench would come in real handy. And I don't have any, so alright, let's see what we get here. Well, hindsight's 2020. If you're doing this job, you might want to consider doing the sway bar link at the same time. You have to unhook half of it. Another thing I would do, if you're planning this out as far as tools, I would probably get 6mm and a bit socket that you can put on a ratchet, okay? This was not the ideal way to do it, but we got it. Alright, let's go ahead and leave that in place. I have the bottom bolts are still in place as well, as you can see, and I'm going to put a jack under this lower control arm and then move to the top bolts, okay? Okay, you're just going to take the weight off of here. Alright, and you'll also see the link, or the stud to your sway bar link will kind of straighten out as well, okay? In fact, it's going to fall right out of there if I push it. Alright, that's what you want. Alright, so we just need to remove this little trim piece here, or this retainer. Okay, usually the top piece pops out, which allows the retainer to contract, and it pops right out of there, okay? I don't know if you can get a look at that, okay? So what ends up happening is, if you pull this top piece out, it allows this to compress, rather, okay? And then when you put it back in, you push that down, and that keeps that retainer piece you know, spread, okay? So rather than just go at it, make sure you pop that top piece out first. Alright, that should allow us to lift this up, and there's the top of our strut. Alright, we're after these bolts here, not this center one. Alright, let me grab a socket. Alright, these are the bolts we're after here, and 13mm. I'm going to try to get at them with the impact. I've got impact universal on here. Just gives us some flexibility in terms of the angle, okay? We got it, okay? Alright, so we're going to tap these out of here, but before I start tapping on them, I'm going to wind the nuts on here, sort of just by hand, okay? Because we don't want to mash in on the threads at all, okay? The sway bar link will pop right out because we've got the weight suspended or held up by the jack, remember? Okay, so let's go ahead and give these a tap here. And just watch your ABS sensor wire there. Alright. Here we go. Let me get the camera out of the way here and we'll get this out of here. And probably going to have to give her a good thwack. And up she comes. Okay. Now, in the opening I mentioned that I was replacing the whole assembly, and there were a couple of reasons for it. One, it's easier. Two, it's faster. And then three, it's because there is a bearing in this this top plate, okay? It allows the strut to turn like this when you turn your wheel. Alright, this bearing can wear. Alright, now that's not the noise my wife is hearing. She's actually hearing the strut itself. Because the car has 120,000 miles on it, I don't want to put, the strut itself, essentially the shock, if you will, in there, and then, 10,000 miles down the road, have this go. Okay, so that's just a decision that I've made. And again, the money that I save by doing it myself pays the difference easily. Likewise, if you need a strut spring compressor and you're going to do just the strut itself and not the top mount plate and the spring, the money you save by doing it yourself saves you that difference. Okay, go ahead and buy the tools you need or buy the complete strut assembly. Again, you're coming out ahead because you're doing it yourself. Let's get the new one, get it installed. Alright, so hopefully the fan noise hasn't been too bad. It's kind of warm in the garage tonight. Alright, what I'm going to do is get this strut in place. Careful of your CV boots, careful of your your brake hose and your brake ABS sensor. Okay, what I've got is I've got one of the bolts here, and we're just going to try to get one in. All right, that's just going to support it and put it where we need it. Okay, I don't know how much of that you actually saw. Take a look at these bolts here. Okay, this is why we didn't need to put a wrench on them. Okay, once you get them in there, they kind of stick. All right. And let's see if we can get these threaded by hand here. Pretty close. You may have to move it around a little bit and find the sweet spot here. Alright, because I'm not fully sold on the old power of the cordless here, I'm going to tighten everything down with a ratchet. You could always look up the torque specs also. But what I'm going to do is make sure that they're good and tight. You don't want them to fall out. You don't want to break anything. And you want to be able to get them out again if you have to. Right? And I would do this even if I were using my air impact also, right? You don't want to break anything, so you kind of get a feel for how tight are these bolts, right? That's what we want right there. Let's move down below. Just like that with the button, okay? Okay, so anytime you're using any kind of power tools, right, you always want to wind it on by hand first, because if it's not going to thread on like this by hand, you don't want to hit it with a power tool because you could cross thread it, right? If you had this slightly off and you just started threading it and hit it with a power tool, you're going to try to wind it on, it's not lined up, right? So get it on as far as you can by hand. We're going to hit it with the impact, then I'm going to hit it with the ratchet. And again, you could always look up the torque specs if that was something you were interested in. just hit it with a ratchet real quick. And that's on there. Holy smokes. So the cordless tools, even a craftsman, does a pretty good job. Alright, here we go. Sway bar link. Let me see if I can find a bit socket for this thing, because I do not want to use that Allen wrench again if I don't have to. Alright, let me see what I can find. Alright, my very next tool purchase is going to be a metric bit socket set. I've got like 7 of them and I don't have a 6mm, so there you go. This is a 7/32 inch. Now don't use the wrong size, especially on disassembly. I just want to show you how much easier it would be had we had this for, especially for disassembly, okay? So it was kind of a pain to do what I did with that little Allen key. Maybe 2 hands here. I'm just going to thread this on by hand, show you how it works, and then I'll switch over to the correct size, alright? So you're going to put your ratchet on loosen. You're going to put your wrench on the nut. Okay, and because it's on loosen, we're just going to wind the center stud through the nut like that, okay? That's how much easier it would have been. And typically these bit sockets are more rugged than the Allen keys, okay? Now I'm not going to do any more because I don't want to strip that out. Alright, let me wind that in the way we wound it out using the hex key like this. It's going to take a little while, and then we'll be done. Well, we got to hook our brake line up in our ABS line. So let me get this done, and I'll be back. Alright, so this strut's a little bit different. This bracket, I think, went over the edge of the strut mount here. It's on the inside now, so I could flatten that off if I wanted to, but I'm not too worried about it. Also, this is not threaded, so I think we're going to have to try to wind it in. I've tapped it a little bit with the hammer. And it's a 13. Hopefully this video has been helpful. Again, it's going to be the same or similar on a lot of other vehicles. Leave questions and comments below, and always give me that thumbs up if you found it helpful at all. And again, I'll be doing the sway bar links here shortly, so if you're into that, stay tuned. And we're flattening that bracket out. And again, kind of into the cordless a little bit. Works well. They're a lot quieter, a little bit more portable, and there's a lot of torque. Alright, thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button right up down there somewhere, anywhere it says subscribe, just hit it, okay? If you want to see more of this type of stuff, I do a lot of different videos. I'm going to get into the old home automation with Google Home, okay? Kind of into that lately, and a lot more car videos, ATV, you name it, I do it. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching, and have fun.